now on tonight's top story, the new Pope from Argentina. 76-year-old Cardinal Jorge Bergoglio becomes the 266th pontiff to lead the world's 1.2 billion Roman Catholics.
White smoke.
After 5 ballots, white smoke billowed from the Sistine Chapel this afternoon, our time, signaling that the 115 cardinal electors had made their final choice on the second full day of their conclave. Insiders say the cardinals chose a pope they think is a seasoned, popular and humble pastor who will draw new followers to the faith. The 76-year-old was the runner-up in the last conclave. Today he woke up a cardinal and went to bed as pope.
Buonasera. Preghiamo per tutto il mondo.
Let us pray not only for ourselves but for the entire world.
Una grande fratellanza.
He is well known in South America for his work in social justice, for the cause of the poor, and also for his fidelity to the teaching magisterium of the Church.
Pope Francis celebrates his first Mass as pontiff in the Sistine Chapel tomorrow. He will be officially installed as Pope on Tuesday. He says he will also pay a visit to his predecessor, Pope Benedict, tomorrow at the papal retreat. Joining us once again tonight, covering this historic occasion for us, is CTV's Todd Vanderheyden in Rome. Todd, thanks for being here. It's late in the evening for you after what has been a pretty remarkable day. You've been talking to some of the Canadians, including the bishop from Edmonton. What's the reaction here?
Listen, the reaction, Hudson, I can tell you, is a lot of surprise and a lot of happiness. We were talking with the Archbishop, of course, from Edmonton, Richard Smith, and he was saying what an interesting choice for the Catholic Church to choose in this man, Jorge Bergoglio, now Pope Francis I. You know, the Church could have gone in many different directions, could have gone in many different ways. They chose a dark horse candidate, a man who we're hearing was the second contender when Pope Benedict XVI was elected back in 2005, a man who is, we are told, very simple in terms of his connection to people, not about pomp and circumstance. When he was the Archbishop of Buenos Aires, he did not choose to live in the bishop's palace. Rather, he lived in an apartment. He walked to work or used public transit. And a man who really believes in evangelizing, a man who really believes in going and talking to the people. So a very interesting choice. And of course, Hudson, as we have been talking about with you for the last little while, the Church is well aware of the fact that nowadays 2/3 of Catholics live in the so-called global South, in Latin America or in Africa. So by making this choice, you can be sure the Church was recognizing that fact.
Is this viewed by some, Todd, as a missed opportunity for the Church to take a full step into the 21st century, or is this a baby step that gets them partway there?
Good question. I would say it's probably a baby step. You know, the reality, Hudson, here is that 115 cardinals were part of this conclave. All of them were appointed by either John Paul II or Benedict XVI, both deeply conservative men. In turn, they appointed deeply conservative men as cardinals. And therefore, although we're hearing that Bergoglio is considered a moderate, you have to put that into perspective. Moderate for a Catholic cardinal. So when it comes to some of these challenges, some of these issues that face the Catholic Church, whether it's women's ordination, whether it's the oath of celibacy, you name it, you can be sure that Francis I will still be a conservative man. That doesn't mean there isn't some incremental change coming, stylistic change coming, but I think anyone who is expecting major change, major reform, major liberalism, likely will be disappointed.
CTV's Todd Vanderheyden in Rome tonight, covering the papal conclave. Todd, we've enjoyed your coverage. Thank you.
Thanks, Hudson.
One other note from Vatican City before Pope Francis was announced. A seagull was stealing the show at the papal conclave today. Smoke watching turned to bird watching in St. Peter's Square after the gull perched atop the Sistine Chapel chimney. This was after the black smoke had been belching. The gull had a commanding bird's eye view of the sea of pilgrims eagerly waiting in the rain for papal tidings. And within minutes of being spotted, the bird inspired a slew of Twitter accounts. One other note from out of this world tonight. The Curiosity rover has answered a key question about Mars. It seems the red planet could have supported primitive life. Curiosity recovered powder on the Martian surface that NASA has now analyzed, finding about a half a dozen key elements for supporting life. The rover also took photos showing a lake bed that scientists say was filled with sediment derived from streams. Curiosity is expected to do more drilling later this year. The Capital Regional District met today discussing the design of the new sewage treatment plant to be built at McLaughlin Point in Esquimalt. The board says it wants a flexible design, but it has stopped short of opening it up to your input. The first artist renderings of the facility show drab concrete structures surrounded by a high concrete retaining wall. That concept sparked much debate, with critics calling it an eyesore on one of the region's most visible and picturesque properties. One group showed up at the meeting today to pitch a multi-use design with offices, shops, even condos to offset the cost of the project, but the board didn't want to hear it.
I'm very disappointed because I think, all along in this process we've tried to get the concept of innovative technology coming forward, resource recovery, and at each step of the way we've been blocked.
The real proposal is about building a world-class, proven, integrated real estate and utility development that we can securitize the cash flows coming off to create the offsetting revenues to reduce the contribution from the region to reduce the burden on the taxpayer.
The Sewage Committee says it'll meet next month and invite local architects, engineers and members of the public to join Esquimalt Council in a so-called charrette to come up with a set of design principles and guidelines before going back to the public for feedback on a final design. The sewage treatment plant is expected to be up and running in 2018. Well, more kids on Vancouver Island and elsewhere in BC are going to get a chance to play sports thanks to you and the sale of more than 65,000 bags of oranges. You may recall the Thrifty Foods campaign, 3 weeks in the stores, called Orange You Glad You Helped a Kid. It came to an end on March 5th. $1 from the sale of each bag of Buck brand oranges went toward KidSport. The program has several chapters across BC, and it provides grants to children to help cover the costs associated with organized sports. And thanks to you and Thrifty Foods, more than 320 kids will get a chance to take part in sports this year.
It's huge for KidSport. Thrifty Foods has been a long-time friend of KidSport Victoria, and now provincially this is a big deal too. But yeah, basically this helps us to do our job, helps us to let more kids get access to sport seasons of registration that wouldn't otherwise be able to.
The campaign generated more than $80,000 for kids with both the sale of oranges and donations. They handed over the big check in North Vancouver today. Thrifty Foods, by the way, has supported KidSport since 2002 and has helped to raise more than $230,000 for kids to get outside and take part in sport. The debate over whether a coal mine in the Comox Valley will do more harm than good made its way to the floor of the BC Legislature today. Alberni Pacific Rim MLA Scott Fraser is slamming the Liberal government, accusing the province of ignoring environmental concerns. During question period today, Fraser said the Raven coal mine project exposes serious holes in the government's assessment process, but the Liberals shot back, arguing that there is a robust review that's underway.
Their environmental assessment consists of, is it a mine? No. Is it a pipeline? No. Is it a resort? No. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we actually think process is important.
The operation of this mine could impact finfish, shellfish, and other fisheries in Bain Sound. So will the Minister of Environment listen to local governments and ensure that a proper environmental assessment process is put in place as demanded, as requested by all local governments in the Comox Valley?
The Environment Minister says a decision on the project will be based on a combined federal and provincial assessment. The Oceanside Health Centre is going to open on time as scheduled, June 24th, but the services it offers will not be ready at the beginning. They'll be phased in over the following months. The centre will provide urgent care 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, with a focus on patient-centered wellness and illness prevention. But the services will be phased in with the facility only fully operational by the end of September. The Vancouver Island Health Authority says the slow and steady approach will allow staff to get comfortable using new electronic health records, so they're better able to support the new centre's care model. Locals have expressed fears over VIHA's failure to recruit enough doctors, but the authority says doctors will be there by the time it opens. The federal government's pledging $17 million towards the Comox Valley's new wastewater treatment project. Sewer construction systems will be built in Royston, Union Bay, and in Cumberland. The project will help protect the waterways surrounding Bains Sound. The regional district says the federal funding is welcome news for people who've been living with failing septic infrastructure.
But it also make a difference on our expansions.
And people will know that they're coming into a community that has an upgraded sewage treatment plant and what's happening to it. So environmentally, absolutely amazing.
The regional district will borrow $25 million to finance the remainder of the phase of construction. The city of Nanaimo is calling on all parks users to weigh in on whether dogs should be allowed to roam leash-free. Last year, the city designated a number of off-leash dog parks as part of a pilot project. Some of the sites include the Northfield Rest Stop, Gallows Point on Protection Island, and St. George Ravine Park. Now the city wants your input on whether dog owners should be allowed to continue leaving the leashes at home. The feedback session is at the Nanaimo Aquatic Centre until 8 o'clock tonight.